Good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon, how you doing?
Not bad yourself.
I haven't spoken to you in ages.
At
Only
least
good.
10
Only
minutes.
good. Right, we spent the last hour and a half going through the programme.
Anyway, how goes it today?
It's been all right, actually. Yeah, again, going back to the old hearing aids. It's like I thought that when I was doing dishwasher in the kitchen, right, and I heard this hissing. I thought, oh, blooming heck, my tinnitus is back again, right?
Tinnitus.
Tinnitus, whatever you call it, right? And it turned out it was a cleaner spraying the shower through it in the other room, and that's what was picking up. And I've never heard it before. Seriously, never heard it before.
Well,
So
I'm pleased for you, David.
please for me, I really am because to be honest with you, to get a hearing back that you had as a
Well,
teenager, it's
listen,
amazing.
the amount of tech you've got in your house, you may as well have built onto your body and all.
Oh, but I'm already there. I'm wired for
Bionic
sound.
man. Yeah,
Yeah, I've got a metal leg, you know.
that's it, the bionic man. Now, that's enough nonsense about you, eh? Let's see who's in. Ice Ninja, hello. Charlie Campbell, Eddie Wolfie, Margaret Mackay, Hoots Man, Stephen Bankier, Neil McLean, um, Hashbury Stumbles. Good afternoon, William. Wee Bird, June, Tina.
Oh, bloody hell, there's somebody called Hoots Mon.
Aye, Hoots Man.
Hoots Mon, get out of my way. Who do you think you are? Eh?
Aye, we were thinking about covering that one, Hashbury Stumbles. You just come out of the debate, have you, in stage one for the outdoor education scheme for Scotland to guarantee all kids 4 nights and 5 days of outdoor education a year? Aye,
Well, I went to Lochiel, which is where the present one is now up by Fort William, right?
well, there's quite
And when they are just a few years back by a car, just drove up and went in, and it hasn't changed much. The
no,
time that I went, it was actually it was run by a chap called Gordon Downs, ex commando, and as an old man, I mean, he showed us how to do going across the ravine between two ropes,
aye,
down the, and fantastic place. Every kid should see that. Every kid should be involved in that. You
well,
should be
there's a
going
building through.
fishing, canoeing, you name it, walking, everything.
Wish I hadn't picked that comment now, but aye, there's a building through to guarantee all kids 4 nights out and 4 nights, 5 days out of outdoor
I was there
education.
for 3 weeks. Make it 3 weeks, and you're a good one.
It's
Seriously.
40 million quid a year just to give them 5 nights.
Don't care. Give more.
Anyway,
Make it.
we're looking at prioritising those who would need it most because of the cost.
I,
Anyway, we're not here to talk about the outdoor education bill. We're
yeah.
here. First up this afternoon, David. We're up there the 100 mark. We've got First Minister's questions. Now, Russell Finlay, the failing Scottish Tory branch office manager, says the SNP is stifling Scottish innovation.
Well, hey, what can I say? It's like it's time for these wee Scotsmen to get back to their blooming sheds and start inventing stuff. Yeah?
Well, anyway, Swinney slapped him because, of course, Scotland's economy is diverse, grown, and innovative. And he points to the gaming sector, the computer tech gaming sector in Dundee's and Edinburgh as one of the success stories that the SNP hasn't stifled.
Look, guys, I don't know if you're into this, but you look at gaming that the kids are into, right? It's bigger than Hollywood. It's bigger than the film industry, right? And we look at the big blockbuster movies coming out with whomever, right? And we don't realize the number of kids actually playing games like Grand Theft Auto that was produced in Dundee is the biggest thing in the world. It really is.
I think we're all quite aware of it, actually, David. And
Yeah, I don't know if everybody is.
Hashbury
Right?
Stumbles. I'm aware that it was Liz Smith. yes, it is a bit unusual for a Conservative MSP to introduce a bill which would actually be good for people.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so Finlay says that of course, the booming Scottish economy with dwindling unemployment figures is apparently being stifled by the SNP. And of course, next up was Anna Sarwar, and he was ambulance chasing David.
As usual.
As usual, but in this case, it was actually an ambulance he was chasing because apparently a 19-year-old footballer called Brooke, I can't remember what her second name is, footballer Brooke, she broke her leg at the Cumbernauld Stadium playing for Liverpool Road.
Right, she has my sympathy, right? Seriously. It's like anybody break a leg and the ambulance it's called, it's wrongly classified. What would it be classified as? Somebody needs to go to the hospital, but there's no reason given, right? And it's like in a situation like that, yeah, that's it's regrettable. It's an awful situation. And wasn't there the situation where somebody said, "Hang on, this is taking too long," and give the ambulance another call? Can you get an ambulance here? It's a proper real emergency now, right?
Well, anyway, this football player who broke her leg waited
Yeah,
5 hours for an ambulance.
yeah.
So Sarwar brought that up, and he also brought up the alleged 800 deaths at A&E while waiting to be seen at A&E. Now, as we've already proven, folks, those who watch the morning show, I've already proven that there is no set figure for the amount of people who have pegged it waiting in A&E, because where somebody dies in the hospital is not recorded, it's just a fatality that's recorded.
At the end of the day, it's like you look at what Sarwar's brought up, reference this one, and got put John Swinney in a situation where he's got to apologise. Well, yeah, with him, the buck does stop here, right? And at the end of the day, when something like that happens, which is regrettable and also unusual, then yeah, it's a good idea for the First Minister or someone to apologise.
Well, he apologised for anybody that's had extensively long waits in A&E,
Yeah.
and he apologised to this young footballer. Apparently, the inquiry into it shows that it was, as you say, David, the severity of the broken leg was wrongly classified. And I think it was a case of they were hoping somebody was going to stick her in the motor and take her to the hospital themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But 5 hours for a broken leg.
Someone breaks a leg, you can't move them. You really need the ambulance with a stretcher and all the rest of it to get them.
As I say, I mean, Lassie has my sympathy as well, and the ambulance service really needs to get a grip of it.
Yeah.
You know, it is an unusual case, but say John apologised, and then of course the Greens went on their amendment to the housing bill, and it was seen as being their opening salvo to support the SNP and the up and coming budget to be put in front of the Parliament in January. So it looks like the Greens are going to be back in the SNP again, and we'll get to that, because after the First Ministers, we're moving on to a major poll for the National, carried out by Find Out Now.
Yes.
Says SNP Holyrood win, but not a majority. Yes, no question. Yes, 52, no 48. With a dwindling amount of don't knows in the middle there, David. So when they extracted, each time they extracted don't knows, the pile of don't knows gets smaller.
Yeah.
We're on about 6% now.
Yeah.
And the other thing was 53% of Scots want to become a republic.
Yeah, they want to get, not my king. King Big Ears is giving the order of the door, and it's like there's a P45 by the way.
But the National here, David, falls into the same trap they fell into after the referendum when it came to polling on further referenda, once yes had taken the front again. they started splitting the yes/no question down into when do you want a referendum? The new 5 years' time, 10 years' time. They've done the same thing with getting rid of the monarch thing. So basically, they can then take that positive for getting shot of and break it down into negatives because they can introduce doubt about when people want it.
I think really you've got to look at what a trained journalist actually is. And what a trained journalist will do is will try and get as much information about a particular issue. And then they put that down in their article. If that journalist was then taken aside and said, "Hey, you, stop this. If the people want to get rid of the king, put down 53% want shot of him." Right?
They did what they did with the referenda question. These polling companies then started splitting up.
No, it's a journalist that does that. The polling company just produced the stats.
The polling company was also given the questions by the National. So therefore, the splitting of the when do you want rid of the king into certain categories would have been at the behest of the National.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And we've seen the same thing being played by the rags when it came to the yes/no question. Oh, do you want a referendum? Majority want a referendum. When? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, just to dilute the issue.
Yeah. Well, there should be, it's something we're going to discuss later on is the situation whereby the SNP are going to create a majority, right? And as far as I'm concerned, the moment you water that down, then immediately you start to lose cohesiveness on that. And the idea of the SNP getting a majority, you've got to fall away, right? So we've got to watch that with the National, especially in terms of not my king, or in the referendum. Let's make sure. Let's kick back. And we can do that through they're looking at the actual articles they do and putting a comment on that article.
That's what the comment section is open.
Yeah, the comment section on that one is open.
Well, anyway, as I say, 53% want rid of the king.
Yeah.
And John, if you're listening to that 53%, there's nothing stopping you from having a referendum on getting rid of the king.
Yes.
Unless, of course, that comes under the constitutional arrangement.
I think in actual fact, people were given the option of you want a king or not, you don't want a king, right? Not do you not want a king in 10 years or do you want not want a king in more than 10 years, right? Or whatever it is, right? I would say that at that point, people would go, yeah, we need rid of him. That's it.
Aye, well, as I say, there's no reason why John could not hold a referendum on getting rid of the monarchy, unless, of course, that is also covered by Section 30, which reserves the Constitution.
Yeah, we are allowed.
So,
we are allowed.
But as I say, it was an interesting poll. The breakdown seats by John Curtis is the SNP, I think it was on 59 in this particular one. The poll 2 days ago, the SNP on 66 seats.
No, the poll I've seen is 63, but anyway, I'm not going to argue
this particular poll, John Curtis at the breakdown, 59 seats.
Right.
The poll before that, 2 days before it, the seat breakdown was 66 seats for the MP, which made a majority very, very possible, which I believe is 69, isn't it?
Well, it's 129 total, isn't it?
Aye.
So, not 69, it's half 100.
65, actually, isn't
it? Yeah.
So, the one last week, we had the SNP at majority.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
We'll get to more of that later on because actually there's a section on this that we're going to talk about.
Aye. Right, Orkney bucks a trend here, which is interesting. Orkney Council yesterday voted not to introduce a tourist tax.
Looking at it, David, I've been subject to a tourist tax myself, going abroad, right? It's nothing. It's tiny. It's a very small. You pay so much per day. I forget how much we paid at the time going abroad, but it was a very, very small amount of money. So the tourist tax, I understand why they've done it, but to be honest with you, it's nothing.
Well, anyway, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, the Highlands and Islands are all introducing a tourist tax in 2027.
Depends on which eyes.
In Edinburgh, it'll be £2 a night. I'm not sure what the figure was for Glasgow or Highlands and Islands.
Yeah.
The Edinburgh, Glasgow, Highlands and Islands will introduce their tourist tax in January 2027, and Aberdeen will introduce theirs in April 2027.
Any idea of numbers? With £2, you said.
Well, to say, the only one that's concrete that I know of at the moment is Edinburgh at £2 a night.
Right. £2 a
And that
night.
will be collected by local accommodation providers.
You figure that out, right? Per person, that is. Don't forget, right? So let's say two of my pals down in England were going to come up and spend a couple of weeks in Edinburgh. So that's 2 times £28, right?
2 times 14.
Like 2 weeks. I'm saying 2 times. Sorry, £28 times 2, £50.
£2 a night times 7 is 14.
2 times a night times 14 for 14 nights.
Aye.
Yeah, get it working. Come on, away. Well,
£2 a night over 7 nights.
Hearing aids, I think you need them as well.
14 quid, it's 14 quid, that's right, 28. You beg your pardon, dear boy. Give yourself a wobble, David. It's not like me, but never mind. Anyway,
In the days,
but you've got to ask yourself, David, why would the Orkneys decide against the tourist tax?
probably rains that often. They look at that many tourists.
I think it's more to do with the point it's that hard to get there, aye.
Yeah,
They don't get that many tourists. There's no point in trying to put them off.
that's right. I think that video that used to be up was people going to Orkney on the boat from the mainland, and the pianos. That was so funny. It really was. But I bet it put a lot of people off going to the Orkney.
But see, to be fair, David, I don't think the tourist tax will put many people off coming to Scotland.
No.
You know, you just say £20, £28 a week.
Yeah, it's nothing. It really is nothing compared to the actual cost of maybe getting an airline ticket or whatever, right? We went to a European destination. I'm not going to say where, and that was a couple of euros per night. Yeah, it really was nothing. So sorry, please carry on.
I'm just looking at the debate. Millie doesn't agree with a tourist tax. Stephen Shelton disagrees with Orkney Council because he thinks that the Orkney local authority should have introduced it because the money could have been used to reduce the price of public transport on the island.
Well, in actual fact, that is what happens abroad. You pay a tourist tax. That tourist tax is used to enhance something. You imagine some of these European destinations, they've got the big luxury ships that turn up with a couple of thousand people, and all of a sudden, boom, in they go, right? The restaurants and the cafeterias, all this, they do really, really well. But people live in the place. They've got to live through all this. So what they do is they use the money from the tourist tax to enhance their lives. End of story. Yeah.
Nathan, I don't think you'll find there's that many flights into Kirkwall each day. As I say, it's interesting though that as the authorities in the mainland are all gearing up to introduce a tourist tax, Orkney have decided against it.
Yeah. So long as it's used for the people that live in the area. That's important. That's a really, really important thing. So long as it isn't a tax that just suddenly goes over the hills and far away. Right?
Well, it has been collected for the local authorities to use in the local authority areas.
But some idiot in a local authority will go, oh, we should be giving that to the Treasury.
That'll be right. Anyway, let's move on. John Swinney's Indie plan faces a wrecking amendment from a rebel group of 43 branches, says
Listen
press.
to it. Listen to the language. Rebel. They are not rebels. They're Democrats. As are all in the SNP. We are Democrats. We are not fucking rebels.
Well, apparently, these 43 branches are going to introduce amendments to stick with the plan that a majority MSPs, for pro-independence MSPs in that parliament, is a mandate to start negotiations to end the union.
Yeah, okay.
So that'll be interesting.
It's not going to add a massive amount on, but it gives it more of a chance.
Listen, they here needs might be working for you, but they're not working for us. Speak up.
Your ears, David. It's your ears.
It's not my ears at all, David. You're actually speaking quite low and you can hear yourself.
Right, okay. Sorry, guys. I shall shout. Right, okay. The thing is, this is an article in the National, and I object to the wording of the characterization of these people being rebels. They are not rebels. They are people exercising their democratic right. The SNP is a democratic party. However, what they're worried about is that if John Swinney gets overruled and the so-called rebels end up winning the day, does that put John Swinney in a situation where he goes, well, my position is now untenable?
It might.
Yeah, and he has to resign this close to a major election.
Can't I see it myself? But
Huh?
your point about democratically elected members and these branches having the democratic right to bring this amendment to the conference, when asked about the amendment, John told the press it's a democratic party.
That's right.
We will deal with this situation democratically within the body of the conference. The folks, the conference is in Aberdeen next month. Doesn't look like I'm getting a delegates pass, so it looks like I'll be going online to watch it with the rest of yous.
No, dreadful. That's sickening. It really is, David.
Well, you get right, don't you? Only branches only been allocated X amount of delegate passes because it's not as big a venue as what they actually should have. The Aberdeen Conference Centre holds 3,500 people,
Right.
56,000 members. And today, with the ability to be able to communicate this way, there should be a programme which could be, or an app which could be put in place to allow people like you and me watching it at home to be able to vote.
Yes. Or to be able to comment.
Well, you can comment on whoever's streaming it stream, can't you?
Yeah.
But as I say, we should be able to, the place only holds 3,500 people maximum. There's 56,000 members. There should be a mechanism by which those of us who are tuned in online and willing to pay for the delegates pass online should be able to vote.
Right. Okay.
It can't be that difficult. They managed it for the Scottish Parliament during COVID, where the members could sit on their iPads at home and vote.
Yes.
It should be done. It should be doable.
Yeah. Of course it is.
You know.
It's not beyond, as Alex Sammy used to say, it's not beyond the wit of man.
No, it's not beyond the wit of man. But what's more important, as I say, is that John has pointed out, well, these papers were all speculating on these amendments or this proposal versus that proposal being no allowed. We hear that both proposals will be debated, and an amendment to John's a proposal is being allowed as the way forward rather than having two full debates.
Yeah, but the thing that I object to greatly is the wrongful characterization of these people as rebels.
Yes, but that's no the party that's characterising them as rebels.
Yeah, I know,
That's the
correct.
press sensationalising this whole thing.
Yes. So, but the thing is, it's like if you imagine a situation whereby you were going to court for something, right? And somebody was characterising you, the criminal David McGuinness approaches the court. You
You would not be able to characterise me that if I was guilty of earlier crimes and had been convicted.
Right. And similarly, these people can only be considered as rebels if they actually take up arms and start behaving like rebels. Simple as that.
Well, we know they're not rebels. They're an associate bunch of branches who have put forward a motion to the conference. The conference decided it's not enough time to debate both, so they've negotiated, and their preferred position will be offered up as an amendment to John's position.
Yeah.
Which saves time and still gets the same outcome. Either the 43 branches will carry the day, or John Swinney will carry the day. But no doubt it'll be a healthy debate.
Right.
And no doubt the members who do have delegates status and who can vote, they'll make their mind up for the rest of the party who can't get a say at this point in time. And we'll stand by it because we're Democrats as well.
Yes, that's right. The idea of being a Democrat is that, rightly or wrongly, if your position has been trampled over, all of a sudden you go, right, fine, such and such is one, and you support that. Simple as that. And I see that to anybody that's a SNP member, you don't dare, after all this is done, right, we go one way or the other, John Swinney's way or the other Democrats, the other Democratic way, whatever comes out is correct, and that's fine. That's the one you support at the end of the day. All right.
As I say, one thing's for sure, they're definitely no rebels.
Yeah.
And they, as I say, Swinney hit back at the press by saying, hold on a minute, this will be debated. We're a Democratic Party. Yeah. And it's, as you now know, folks, the way they've got round the amount of time they've got to cover this subject is they've allowed the 43 associated branches motion as an amendment to John's. So would John have to then step down? If his is defeated, it won't be defeated, it'll be amended. So that answers the question on whether he would be forced to stand down or not, because his motion won't be defeated, it will be amended.
Right.
So that's the way they're getting round it, David.
We've done that one to death, think. So what else we got?
Next, we're going to move on to stupid story hits our shores.
Right, okay, go for it.
Fucking cracker.
Yes.
RFK claims paracetamol causes autism if taken by pregnant women.
Yeah, this is for clarity, the name paracetamol and Tylenol. Tylenol is what they'll call it in America. Paracetamol is what we call it, right? It's a painkiller, right? And this guy's reckon that, well, we've got lots of people becoming autistic these days. Why is that? Well, it must be something that the American public are taking. Must be Tylenol or whatever, right? At the end of the day, the reason why you've got that many people who have been recognized as being autistic is because the actual industry that deals with that side, with the mental health of the nation, whatever nation it is, are getting better at diagnosing people that are autistic. So therefore, there are more labels going on out there, but being autistic doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It simply means that your brain works in a slightly different way. That's all. Right? So, many of you out there will be autistic to a certain degree. I had a friend called Simon who actually designed and built the Millennium Stadium in Wales, the big sound system that went into it, right? He was heavily autistic. He was one of these people where you could say to him, right, throw a box of pens on the floor and say to him, Simon, how many's there? And he'd go, 146. There you go, right?
Yeah, once it hit our shores, of course, in England, they didn't go to the Prime Minister for a statement. Right. They went to Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
And of course, puts Farage in a bit of a spot, doesn't it? He says, I don't know. He says,
Yeah. Well, why do you think they went to Farage? They went to Farage because he's tied up with Trump.
anyway,
Yeah.
he said he doesn't know, but we thought thalidomide was safe. In other words, hedging his bets and all, getting the wrong side of the right of America.
So hang on a second. Let's just stop it there, right? Okay. What he was doing was he was characterising thalidomide, same as which was a drug, right? Same as paracetamol. Thalidomide ended up whereby you had kids born without arms, without hands, just without fingers growing out the shoulder or something like that, right? So in other words, that's a dreadful situation, and there are poor people still alive today who have suffered that all through their life. Simple as that, you know. And
Well,
yeah.
as we say, of course, once they'd asked a politician in England, they felt obliged to ask a politician in Scotland. So they did the right thing here in Scotland, and they went to John Swinney and asked him, what do you think he said?
Just basically said, listen to the scientists.
That's what he said. Well done. You know, John looked at them with a blank expression saying, "Yeah, look what a fucking scientist. I'm a politician, you spanners."
Correct.
You know.
Whereas people like Trump, people like Farage are not politicians. They are people with opinions. That's all they are, right? And opinions, the old saying is, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Right. But stupid stories, folks, hits our shores.
Thanks, Alistair. Thank you very much.
And America says paracetamol causes autism. Now, is it possible, David?
Do you want to know something? In the vast scale of things, right? It might turn out 20 years from now, somebody managed to put a link between the two, right? And you go, right, okay. At the end of the day, it's like, does it matter? Is it causing all the people that are autistic now? No. I would start looking at it. I would go, it's impossible. When was paracetamol invented?
1877.
When did they start discovering people that were autistic?
1947.
Right, so that's...
For your information, Tylenol didn't hit the market in 1951.
Right, Tylenol was just paracetamol with a different name. That's all it was, yeah.
Thank you very much, Kirsty.
Thanks, Kirsty.
We'll get Sheba Dog writing with a brush, writing number 1 on a piece of paper. Thank you. And then you get an appreciation message from Stephen Bank here as well.
Stephen Kelly.
Sorry, was it Stephen Kelly? Afternoon, Darren. How are you? Welcome aboard. We're just talking about the silly story of paracetamol and autism.
Yep.
Before we move on to some more serious stuff again.
All right, we were just keeping them going until you got here. That was all.
It's just a comedy skit in the middle, if you like, you know. And I love the way the reporter wrote it, David, and you and I were reading the story. Nigel Farage for the obligatory 439 hours of non-stop broadcast time that he must have by law.
Let's now look at this square in the eyes. It's more to do this story about Farage being given hours and hours and hours of airplay.
And he was on LBC the other day. Why the fuck people keep platforming
He's got a programme on LBC.
No, it's GB News he's on now. He's not on LBC. He gets sacked for LBC.
Oh, I think it's sacked from LBC now. Right. So GB News.
GB News. But anyway, he was also on LBC claiming that the people are coming across in small boats are eating fucking swan and trout out of the royal parks.
No, it's koi carp. It's koi carp.
Aye, out the royal parks.
Yeah.
Very good, huh? That's that. Off with their heads, eating swan. Yeah. That can't be done. You know.
I'll tell you what.
We've got paracetamol, swan, and koi carp.
I'll tell you who likes koi carp, right? My mate had a pool, huge pool, full of koi carp, big bugger, right? Really, really big, right? And one morning he woke up and he had herons. You know, big herons are.
Aye.
He had herons all running about the pool, and they emptied the entire pool of koi carp. Now, at the time, a koi carp would cost you about 80 quid, right? It's like, must have cost him thousands. But anyway, there you go.
Aye,
Just
well,
thought I'd mention that.
fish is fish, you know. Some
Yeah.
people eat it, some people don't. I don't like freshwater fish. Anyway, Nepal, after the revolution a couple of weeks ago, voted new government using Discord. Where there's a will, there's a way. So there you go. They use a social media platform to hold their elections.
Yeah.
No. So let's move on, shall we? From the stupid
Do we
stories.
know that Discord is secure? We don't, do we?
I don't know. I've not got a problem with it. It glitches now and again, but apart from that, it's all right.
Yeah.
Now, moving on, Farage copying Trump way. They're eating the fucking swans instead of the dogs and cats, and they, of course, paracetamol and autism. Let's move on for the silly fucking stories, shall we? Get back to some business. Now, it appears that the threat to Starmer for Andy Burnham is real.
Yeah.
And the fire's being stoked here, but it's also being said that he won't throw his ring into the hat until after the local elections next year, which are expected to be a total disaster for Labour.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what he's doing is it's easier to take on an opponent once they've been damaged.
Aye.
You know, so that's Andy Burnham's idea, right? But to be honest with you, I don't think Andy Burnham is going to manage it. I really don't.
Well, as I say, what they're saying is the MPs MPs are talking to him about it. The question is who's willing to step aside in a safe Labour seat if there is such a thing anymore.
Well,
to allow him to get into Parliament.
What is an MP earn these days?
£80,000.
£80,000. Right. Okay. Would you got £80,000 to let this blown magic in?
I dare say there's a few ideologues out there who might.
Well, there you go.
You know, all for the greater good of the party, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like Boris Johnson's back on the cards and all.
Oh, okay. Right, okay.
The Tories are looking at him to be the great white hope to slaughter Farage and bring the Tories back to prominence.
More dead cats.
More dead cats. As I say, but the Andy Burnham thing, it's really starting to look serious. He's looking at the opportunism right after Starmer gets his ass kicked in next year's local election.
Well, without doubt,
there's a Welsh and Scottish
Starmer is going to get his ass kicked. To what extent is a different question.
Yep.
But we know he's going to get his ass kicked.
And of course, you throw in the idea that the Labour Party is going to lose the Welsh Senate for the first time. And of course, they'll be hitting record low numbers of seats here in Scotland as well. It looks like Starmer's jacket's on a sugary nail and Burnham is squaring up for it.
Let's not forget that Kemi Badenoch is in a bad state as well.
Oh, aye.
Because the Tories are going to get handed their blooming heads.
That's right. And we might see Robert Jenrick step into the fold there, and he's a nutter.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, he's just as bad as Farage, if not worse. He'll definitely try and out Farage.
Yeah.
But saying that, they're all trying to out Farage right now.
Yes, aye, that's
and as all the commentators in England keep saying, why would you try to out Farage? Because if you're going to out Farage, why would anybody vote for you when the real thing's there? You know, it's just stupid. But so it looks like the Andy Burnham thing could be real.
Yeah.
And they're talking about him making his move after the local elections next year. Right, and of course, Morgan McSweeney won't go away. He's hanging about like a bad smell. The Tories have now called for an inquiry into Morgan McSweeney and how he misused £739,000 worth of contributions, which he did not declare. And so the Tories are looking for an inquiry into Labour Together's support for Mr. Starmer. Yeah. Of course, they're not making noise. You know.
At the end of the day, the Electoral Commission, who are deeply involved here, have no teeth.
No, I mean the fine for squirreling away 73 for no declaring 739,000
Yeah.
was 14,020 £250.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you bend the electoral rules to the sum of £750,000, the fine's 14 grand.
They'd probably get insurance that covers it as well.
Probably insurance to cover it. But anyway, the dark money, as we know, David, was used to oust Corbyn and move to finish up the Blairite project.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like being an independent Scottish independence campaigner, right? I cannot support Corbyn. I really can't. You know, even though now I look at that, there's been a dreadful wrong done to the man, right? Still in all, I can't support him. But what was done to him was wrong. What was done to him was dreadful. Yeah.
Right, Chris, you get Dad Joke of the Week. What do you call a jobby with one eye?
Okay.
Chris, you get Dad Joke of the Week, man. So, the Morgan McSweeney thing, looks like it's coming back to haunt Starmer. Will they punt McSweeney? Thank you, Stephen. Will they punt McSweeney in order to save face? I don't think so. I think they'll brace it out.
Well, the main thing is, I really hope the Corbyn thing doesn't bite our bums.
Well, we'll get to the Corbyn thing in a minute, because that's where we're going next.
Right.
And that is, your party have now launched their official membership drive. Now, this comes on the back of the stooshy between Corbyn and Sultana, when Sultana had launched a membership drive without the permission of the rest of the group.
So what they did was they were raising Sultana to the ground.
That's it, right? More importantly, she threatened to sue them and blamed them for being misogynistic. And then she decided that she was going to put everything to one side and try and make up with Corbyn for the sake of this party. Now that the official membership drive has been launched, 700,000 people had pledged to join this new party. Let's see how much damage has been done, or will that 700,000 people join that new party?
To be honest with you, it's new enough that I think they could survive it rather well.
Aye.
I think the number, we're talking people in England here, right? Mainly people in England would be disgusted at what the Conservative Party done to them, and now disgusted at what the other the Labour Party have done to them, right? So, and they really don't fancy Farage's answer to it, because he said he's going to get rid of the National Health Service, right, and bring in insurance. So therefore, it's possible Jeremy Corbyn's lot could do the job easily. Maybe not bring in 700,000 members, but certainly be one of the biggest memberships in the UK.
Well, I see that Wake Up and Smell the Rosemary's, or Rosie, was saying that she thinks that Sultana was right. And to be fair, they really needed to get a move on. This lot were dragging their feet. They're talking about being battle ready and having candidates in place for the Scottish election, the Welsh election, and the local election next year.
These people, especially people like Corbyn, do not move quickly. They don't move. They can't move quickly. My goodness me!
They haven't got structures of fuck all in place yet, and they're launching a membership drive.
Yeah, you better go and watch Nicoletia move and see some of these politicians actually do the job.
But it would appear that they haven't learned the lessons for Farage, where you do move quickly. It would appear that Sultana had learned that. Zara Sultana was wanting to take a life out of that book, move quickly, gather momentum quickly. But Corbyn and his 5 independents in his group have slowed the whole process down until they've got structure in place, which of course is the right way to do it. Get your thing designed and then put it into production.
Yeah, but then the answer is shut it. Don't say anything until you've got it sorted, and then you announce it to the world. Something like that. You know, This is yet again, it's another mess up.
You're
Yeah.
right, Kevin. You might be right, Kevin. Starmer may well be going by Christmas, but you'll definitely be going after the elections next year if Labour take the tank and the polling says they're going to take.
Well, don't know.
But as I say, the Your Party drive, we'll find out if the Stussy last week has done them any real damage or whether they will make it up to the 500,000, 750,000 pledge, the amount of people saying that they would join. And if they do get that alleged 700,000 or 800,000 people who pledge to join, then I can see the political landscape in England changing dramatically.
Yeah.
Dramatically. Right, I guess we better move on to the carry on in the UN, starting off with Trump.
Yes.
Did you see Trump's
I saw
arsehole
it.
behaviour?
Yeah, I saw it. It struck me as being funny because all these people sat there quietly while this idiot prattled on about immigration and all sorts, right? And some of the stuff he was coming out with was just absolutely unbelievable. And the way he was talking to the audience, which was world leaders, was ridiculous. He basically saying to them, all your countries are fucked.
Aye.
Yeah.
Throw the milk of human kindness to anybody by offering them asylum and your country's fucked.
Yeah.
I think the mentality of Trump tells us that America's fucked more than the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, but to stand there and berate other world leaders while his own country's falling to fucking bits, homelessness is at all-time high, nobody's can afford medical insurance, houses most people are priced due to, it's fucking no real. And there he's standing there with a cheek to berate anybody. Anyway, it didn't go down well, did it? Because the Middle Eastern leaders, in fact, most of the world leaders had the right go at Israel, had the right go at Putin.
Yeah. Well, you start counting about the Arab nations. Their plan is to go, America, you're supposed to provide the security for all this, right? You're not. So therefore, we're going to look elsewhere. BRICS. Hello, BRICS. Come in. So BRICS is going to do well at that. The African nations, we saw the African nations are apart from a few of the idiots that think it's going to stand against them, right? Have all went, yeah, we need to tell America to take a long walk of a short beer. Something like that. So when it comes to we're talking about a huge lump of the world population now seeing America as a rogue nation.
Well, it definitely is a rogue state. No doubt about it under Trump.
And the rogue, being rogue, again, this word I'm using, I seem to have characterized my head, but characterizing all Americans as being like this, that's not the case. There are a lot of Americans that are really good, thoughtful, straightforward people. They're not all Republican knuckle draggers, right? We're talking about the really, really nice, thoughtful people, right? And at the end of the day, it's a shame, really is, that their country is acting in the way it is. But until they decide they've got to get rid of Trump and get rid of the idiots that are running America right now, that's the way they are going to get characterized.
Anyway, Israel's close neighbours didn't have what Israel get it.
Yeah. Right.
The speeches for Turkey, Erdogan, the Premier of Iran, and the King of Jordan made it pretty well clear to Israel, actually, don't give a fuck about the Yanks. If you don't toe the line, we're coming. And we're coming for you. In fact, Turkey and Iran went as far as to tell Israel they were finished.
And also, if you notice the wee chap from Thailand actually said, I hope, I'm glad to tell all of you that once we've actually got things sorted out with Israel and Palestine, right, we've got 20,000 troops that are going to head across there as peacekeepers.
The number I heard was 40, but 20 would be enough.
20,000. It was actual words that he said. So there you go.
well, as I say, it was not very often I tune into the United Nations, but the General Assembly only meets a couple of times a year.
Yeah.
And obviously they've always got a very tight agenda.
Yeah.
And in fact, you and I were talking about that earlier when we were talking about the decolonisation case.
Yeah.
Now, what do you call it? It was absolutely fascinating. And when we take into the next subject we're going to talk about for the last 10 minutes, and that is the freedom flotillas.
Yeah.
There's more than one now. And the measures that Italy and Spain are putting in place to protect that flotilla.
Yeah, well, there's been several of the flotilla hit with drones, and there's one of them. There's one of them exploding there where an unexploded munition. I don't know whether it's a drone or whatever it is on the boat, and they're going to have to evacuate that boat, something like that, because if it does go bang, it will take the boat, right? But when you look at the number of ships, boats involved is huge, but also you have to consider that war games set up between Egypt and Turkey is taking place, and also we've got Italy and Spain join the fray by sending a few of their warships out to keep the people that are in that flotilla safe. Also, we have a Scottish contingent leaving Libya now.
We are a hospital ship.
For a hospital ship. Seriously, it's like what we need is we need a few to go, all right, time's now, let's pile on. Yeah, because if you figure a lot of people on these flotilla are Swedish. Hello, Sweden. Can you hear me? Hello, Sweden.
Well, the pretext behind Spain and Italy sending warships is to protect their citizens in the flotilla. So actually, if everybody on the flotilla was to appeal to their government for cover and protection, that would see the UK having to send a warship out to protect a Libyan hospital ship.
It's quite funny, actually. Say it's not a funny situation, but I read the CNN article on it, right? And they were trying and failing to be balanced for the American public. Quite a lot of them will go, our friends and partners are Israel, something like that, right? And it's like they might as well have said, that rotten Greta Thunberg, going there attacking Israel to the point of where the poor wee IDF have got to try and got to fight back. It's absolutely crazy.
It's hilarious to watch Israel and its allies trying to try to portray these ships as some sort of terrorist organisation.
They're not. This is the thing. This is the world. In the actual fact, if a few more pile in, this could be the world coming of age, waking up instead of ignoring the plight of a people of Gaza, of Palestine. Literally, they've ignored it. They said, what happened on the 7th of October? Hamas, the massive Hamas, well-armed Hamas, and the poor little IDF have got to try and protect themselves against that. Fuck off.
Now, as I say, that's one way to put it. I'm going to have to do something about your sound there. Either that's my ears, because now that you can hear yourself properly, you're a lot softer spoken. And by the way, I can understand that, because one of the reasons why people think I'm so shouty is because I won't put my hearing aids in.
Well,
you don't modulate your.
I'm saying it goes with this is project lovey, but I am projecting. Don't worry about it.
Aye, project lovey, please. Anyway, as I say, the freedom flotillas are becoming quite a focus here.
Yeah,
and they could well be the thing that topples Netanyahu's government.
Yeah,
because there's so many citizens for so many parts of the world on these 50 odd boats and rising.
Well, if you look at one of the other attacks that we know of, right? which is the DDoS attack. It's the data denial of service that we see with large institutions like the NHS or banks or whatever, right? What happens is you with electronic messages and emails and all the rest of it, to the point of the data processing cannot happen. Well, in this case, it's a denial or Israel denial of Gaza attack, and it's people that are doing it. If the more people we can get landed on Israel, and we're talking about coming from battleships or whatever,
Gaza,
Israel, actually forget Gaza, go to the source and get these blooming ships to land troops on Israel, and that way, and become a peacekeeping force. So in other words,
try to get food in and break a blockade. Once the blockade's broken, then Israel will probably give up.
Yeah, well.
But Andrew Alexander, don't you get him fucking started, all right? Whereas Morgan McSweeney's blue tent. Don't you kick him off with blue fucking tents. I don't want to hear anywhere about blue tents.
It's a tent thing again. There you go. Well done, Andrew. Well done, son.
Andrew, you saved him doing it. That's for sure. Okay. So the Freedom Flotilla, folks, has become very, very important in this issue. But there isn't much more to say on it. We need to see how things develop. They're entered the yellow zone. They're heading for the amber zone. And once they hit the red zone, that's a kill zone.
They're in the zone. They're actually in there now.
Aye, they're in the yellow zone at the moment, but they're heading for the red zone.
What's happened is we've already had one drone attack, and there are several of the boats that have already been hit by explosive drones, right? In the stores.
Alistair, I think you'll find their yellow tents you've put up, mate. Oh, dear. Wrong one. That one. Which was the tents? They don't look the same here as what they did in your comments, mate. They look more like splodges than tents. Right, anyway, David, that's us just about had it for this week, mate.
Well, it's been enjoyable, but there's a lot of important stuff that we've discussed today.
And a lot of stuff.
To be honest with you, I'm not interested in what happens to this politician or that politician or whatever, right? I'm interested in one thing, and I'm going to say it 3 times. Independence, 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 because every problem that Scotland has, the solution tends to be independence. And David's going to say, if that's the case, then keep your eyes on the prize.
Certainly can. And the prize this time is the 2026 election. If we don't have a pro-independence majority, we can't keep the pressure on.
Right.
So you decide how you're going to vote. Just make sure you put your tick and your cross or whatever it is in the right box.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, that's us for this week, David. That's nearly 5 o'clock. I've got work to go to. Just got my boots to get a wee polish, get a cup of coffee. What you got planned for the rest of the evening?
Food. Because I'm eating it today at all.
That's no good, sir.
In actual fact, that's by planning rather than by omission, because I'm on a glucose-free diet, and it means that I don't feel hungry, and I choose the time of the day that I have to eat. So what happens that on a Monday and a Thursday, it's after 5 or 6 o'clock by the time I get it made, right? But usually it's 3 o'clock before I eat anything.
Oh well.
And if you cut out sugar out of your diet, you'll find that you don't feel hungry as much. And I don't take Moderno or whatever the injection is, right? It's amazing stuff, these injections, but still in all, it's like you cut out sugar, you cut out the need for food.
Tell you what I'll do with you, David. I'm going to go and get a cup of coffee with 2 sugar and milk. And you and Leslie Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now, folks.
Bye, guys.